All right, I want to have the shell before I start working on the arms and the legs and the neck and the tail, just so I can make sure that they're fitting inside properly. I'm also going to start by creating just the shape, and then I'll use Retopologize to get something that's a little closer to the plates up here just to make it look a little bit more like it without having to do a ton of sculpting. So I'll start with a plane. I only need half of it, so I'm just going to snap half it over here, press 6 so I can see my turtle shell in the background. And once again, do not expect these to be 100% accurate from one view to another. It's the edge right there. And I'm just going to start lining these up to the general shape. Kind of like that. And now I need some going this way. But I don't want this to be just a straight line. This be more like that. So I think I'm going to pull this in a little bit. Let's see here. Or like that. I use the multi-cut tool to create kind of a little outline around it. There we go. Now connect those together, get rid of that end gone, and that end gone. By pulling these down a little bit, I can kind of create a little flat edge on the sides because they tend to sort of flare out a little flatter at the sides than they do at the top. There's a little bulge up here and flare out down there. Once again, I am just using these images as a rough idea. I'm not expecting them to be 100% accurate. Like I Planet X is just easier if I mirror it first. Scale that in, pull that down a little bit. Give it some overhang. Give this a bit of roundness too. Oops, I keep flicking my slides as my insertion loop. And I'm going to smooth that down a bunch. I'll bevel this first. Hold that shape a little bit better there. There. Yeah, that should be plenty round enough for when I start building the plates on top, but I also want to do the bottom while I'm at it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this in a layer temporarily, turn off the top of my shell and turn on the bottom of my shell. I've got a picture for that too. And then for my top view right here, I'm going to turn this into an orthographic new bottom view. There we go. Fish display. I'm going to reverse this because I got it pointing the wrong way. There we go. Looking at where this is, I think maybe I need to slide that picture forward a bunch. Put the tail, found the tail place here. I'll put that about here. Now if I look at this, unlock this, grab that. Is that better? Hope it is. Well, like I said, these are not 100% accurate. I'll extrude up to there a little while. I think I've got these backwards. I guess just go backwards a little bit there. Shell back on. And round this out a little bit. The extruding and scaling it in like that is just easier if I do it from complete mirrored object first. That's why I always do the mesh mirror before I do this. Yeah, that keeps that corner sharper. Oops. The file save scene as before I start trying to fix that. In case something goes wrong. Okay. First, I think it'd be faster if I delete half of this. So I don't have to worry about mirroring it perfectly. Well, that's annoying. And just collapse those together. There. turn on symmetry real quick. There. And now we've got something to build the shell on. Late history to save. See that? I think some of the shape might have gotten lost when I smoothed it. Pull that back down, I think. Yeah, I'll put that back in its layer after all. And because I'm using symmetry, I can draw a long center line like that without having to worry about wiggling over one side or the other. Now the fun part of filling in the gaps. I think I'll pull a few of these a little closer to the edge. Let's see, how do I do this? There really isn't a whole lot for me to say when I'm doing this. I'm just trying to work it out as I go. Try my best to keep clean geometry around here, but sometimes not entirely happy with what I wind up with. Just want to have the plates roughly plate shaped because I think it'll be easier than trying to figure out how to paint them later. I'm just going to fill these in real quick in this direction and then come back and add the edges this way. Readjust these. I got a bit more room for edges this way. There. That went pretty smooth. Now, how'd that happen? No idea how the heck that happened, but all right. Now I'll just do the same thing for these that I did the other side. Extrude too far, otherwise things start getting a little twisted some places. Just may move it manually. Turn that off temporarily. Pull those out just a little bit to start creating some shape. Oh, that's why. Fortunately, I don't think the append tool works with the mirror, so I have to go back over here and add this one in. Using my greater than key on my keyboard to expand my selection, so it's a little easier to select everything inside those. Greater than, I just deselect these, and greater than a couple more times. Display, soften, extrude these in slightly. Mesh tools, multi-cut. Bring that one back. Hide that. Gonna have so many layers by the time I'm done with this, so I'm gonna do a save scene as because it's been a while since I last saved. So again, don't trust the pictures too much. I'm not sure if I did that right. So this should come all the way up to the edge, actually. Oops. It's more like it. Here we go. My brain, I had an idea what I was doing, but it didn't quite match up with what I wanted. If that makes any sense. Looks a bit wonky in a lot of places. I'm just gonna take a minute, readjust a few of these. Sometimes things get a little bit wiggly wobbly when I add new edge loops. Also, just to grab things and shift them around a little bit, and I snap back onto the original surface better that way. Plus, you don't always see how these edges are spaced out if you're only looking at it through like the top view. You start to miss out on a few important details. See how weirdly spaced out some of these are. Can't really see that when I was looking at it straight down. There we go. I think that's plenty for one day. I can start working on the rest of the body. Now I got the shell to put it in.